Buongiorno everyone, welcome to Nonna's Stitching Lounge. It's second installment, and today I'm going to do a video on 10 yarny things you don't know about me. I've been watching a lot of YouTube channels on the bloggers who've been doing 10 non-yarny things, but I figured this is only my second channel, or second installment, so I figured you want to know, why do you want to come and watch me? And so I want to talk about yarny things and things that I love to do and want to share with you, and will share with you every time I post a YouTube channel or video. So again, this is only my second installment. Excuse the amateurish video. I'm going to try to get obviously better cameras, better lighting, better whatever when I get more used to actually talking in front of the camera and content. So let's get right into, my name is Rosie, and I just started Nonna's Stitching Lounge. And one of the reasons I called it stitching rather than crochet or knitting is because I am bi-stitchable, which, so I started probably knitting before I started crocheting, but now I love to crochet. I always have a hook in my hands. Yes, I am a happy hooker, just like the rest of you. So that always gets a laugh at work when I tell them I'm hooking during the weekend. So I am bi-stitchable. I do knit and I do crochet. So I'm going to show you a little bit of both, but mostly crochet at this point, but you never know. It depends on what you guys want to see. So if you want to see more knitting, I can show you some of my works in progress or some of my finished objects, depending on what I've done. So mostly I like doing blankets in knitting and then other items in crocheting. So the second yarny thing that you don't know about me is about my works in progress. So I have no problem frogging. I am a frogger through and through. I hate mistakes. Whether I keep them for myself or I'm giving them away, I just don't like having any mistakes in my work. So the other thing is, it doesn't matter how much I've done. At one point last week, I finished a shawl and I hated it. I didn't like the way it was falling. I didn't like the way it was. Anyway, I hated it. I took it all apart. And it was with Yarny Scarfie. Sorry, it was with Lion Brand Scarfie, which most of you will know doesn't frog very well. So I actually spent probably more time frogging that shawl than I did actually crocheting it. Anyway. But I wasn't feeling it, so I'm not keeping it because I'll never wear it. I won't give it to anybody. So, and I can always use the, the yarn for something else. So I know some of you are cheaters, but I'm not. I like to frog. I could probably say that I've probably frogged more than I've crocheted in the last year. So, because I just don't want to waste the yarn. If it's just going to sit there and do nothing, then, why would I bother? Anyway. The third yarny thing about me, which I think probably describes all of you, is that I am a yarn hoarder. I do like, what I actually like to do is, like, if I make something, this is obviously Karen latte cakes, and it's in I think it's the blackberry. So when I started making this, I got into a kick where I would just make everything using this, different patterns, and try different stitches and everything using the blackberry. So I tend to, like, I'll get a fabric and or get a yarn and I just keep trying different things with it. And of course I frog most of it. So I hate whips in progress, but I am a yarn hoarder. One day I'll take pictures, or I'll take you to where I stash my yarn. I live in a condo, and so we moved from a big house in the suburbs of Toronto into a condo in Toronto, and so I have to be very creative on how much yarn I have and where I hide it. Of course, my husband's a subscriber, so he's now going to know all my secrets about hiding yarn and buying yarn. He watched my last video and he says, "I didn't know you ordered more yarn." Anyway, whatever. The other thing I talked about, the other yarny thing, is I love blankets. So I make a lot of blankets. I think this is the lark's foot stitch. Anyway, And I made this using just all my Bernat blanket scraps, which I actually have another one going with all my Bernat blanket scraps. And I will show you that right now. Because I've made everybody in the family a Bernat blanket, pretty much, mostly knit. But this one I made with all the scraps. And this one, it's still a work in progress, and no, I'm not frogging it. But you can see, I had a lot of the off-white, the vintage white, and I had pieces of all kinds of different colors. So, but of course, I had to go and buy more Bernat blanket white to finish it, because I still have all this blue, and I won't be able to I don't have enough white to go around in the blue. So I had to go buy more white. Of course I did. Who doesn't, right? That's what happens. Anyway, so that's, yeah, I'm into blankets. The other thing, not only am I bi-stitchable, but I've also done a lot of, when I was younger especially, I did a lot of needlepoint. And I started when I was like 15, 16. I worked with my mother, who was a hairdresser. I helped her out in the salon. And so there was a lot of times when there was still clients, but I had to hang out because I drove. I would do needlepoint and cross-stitching. So cross-stitching does not count as a work in progress to frog, because you just can't frog it. So I want to show you something that I started in 2005, which I need to finish, right? So I bought this pattern. It's backwards because I'm using my phone or my iPad. Anyway, I bought this pattern. I don't know if you can see it. It's a beautiful pattern of an old house in New Orleans. And I bought it in New Orleans, actually, this pattern. And what I did is, of course, I took a photocopy of the pattern. And you'll see that every single piece of this fabric needs to be stitched, cross-stitched. Okay, 2005. And I actually finished it, except for the top stitching. And I made one little mistake on the top stitching, and I put it away because it's real pain to take out the top stitching. So anyway, so I need to finish this. It's beautiful. I will frame it. It took me a long time. You can see that every single square and the number of colors and everything that it actually has. So yeah, so I do that. And of course, what I wanted to talk about was when I start a project or when I start a craft, I buy everything related to that craft. So I have lots of these started. I have, this is actually how I did the cross stitching. Every time I did a different color, I would highlight it. I photocopied it, highlighted it. Anyway, I need to finish this, obviously. So, and I can't even tell you how many of these things I have. I bought in garage sales, these little packages of cross stitching. Yeah, I don't think this will ever get done. I can't see anymore. That's like, as I got older, yes. They don't make glasses strong enough. I need natural light to do that kind of stuff. And then I work full time when there's natural light, and then at night there's no natural light. And so that's why I didn't finish it. And I was going to say, the other, anybody have one of these? I bought in, I don't know, 1991 or something. Probably older, probably in 1985. Anyway, I have, so yes, when I knit, I have lots of knitting needles. I also, knitting needles. And I even have a carry for knitting needles. Anybody want knitting needles? Oh, yeah, lots of those. Anyway, of course, now I'm hoarding crochet hooks. Of course I am. Anyway, so that's me. I'm a little obsessive. When I start something, I do it all or I do nothing. So that's, I don't know, number 5 of Yarny things now you know about me. Number 6. So I started crocheting again, I don't know, a little while ago, probably a couple years ago. And so I've been doing a lot of these kind of texture, fluffy things, a lot of blankets, those kind of things. But I just bought a book. Well, I just did start watching Bonnie Barker. I don't know if you guys have seen her on YouTube, and she's at Bonnie Bay Crochet. She's amazing. So I just bought this book from her, and I've got another one coming. And she does all kinds of textured, cabled, beautiful, beautiful fabrics. So that's my next thing. This is what I'm going to start doing. So that's the other thing. I want to try to do more textured. And when I yarn hoard, I usually go to Michael's. We don't have Hobby Lobby or Joann's here in Canada. So it's either Michael's or I have to order online, or Walmart. And our Walmart has maybe one row. Like I watch all the people go shopping, like Crystal, who does On Bag a Day, she goes shopping, and I wish my Walmart even had one row of that, because it does not. So so if you want to see some beautiful texture, she does a lot of patterns online, tutorials, beautiful, beautiful textured work. Bonnie Bay Crochet, go check her out, she's amazing. And I'll show you this is a beautiful, I like to do this one. The other thing with this kind of texture, I started to say is I usually shop at Michael's or order online. I want to start ordering maybe a little more expensive yarn, because you work so hard on some of these like this. It's not an easy, you have to really pay attention, that it just makes more sense to buy the more indie crafted yarn. So I'm going to try to do that. Number 7, yarny things about me that I think probably fits every description of every person that I watch and anybody who crochets, is that you take your crochet everywhere. I have a bag that I take everywhere, has hooks in it, yarn, different types of yarn, because I may not want to use the heavier yarn, I might want to use the lighter. Anyway, I even started a stitch along at work. Once a week during lunchtime, a whole bunch of us get together and we do a stitch along. Some bring knit, some bring crochet, and we just get together and bitch, basically. Stitch and bitch, but can't use that because there is a group called Bitch and Stitch, and it's copyrighted. So it's a stitch along. Yeah. So yeah, I bring crochet everywhere. Doctor's offices. I had hip surgery about 2.5 months ago, and my surgery was like at 8 in the morning, and I was in the room by noon. I had my crochet out. Yeah. And I was doing all kinds of scarves and all kinds of stuff for Christmas. Yeah, and of course I couldn't move for about 2 weeks. I was housebound and couchbound, and I made a lot of scarves, a lot of hats, a lot of gifts for Christmas. Number 8 is that yarny things about me is that I am an avid YouTube watcher. I love everything crochet and knit on YouTube. I love the shopping ones. I don't know why, because I could just go shopping myself, but I just love watching people shop. I love the tutorials, of course, because it really gives you inspiration, gives you different things to think about and to do. Some of my favorites, of course, the Crochet Crowd. Just love Mikey. I think he was one of the first ones that I started watching. And a Canadian. Woohoo! The Secret Yarnery, of course, with Krista, another Canadian, but lives in Kenya, and she's amazing, and she's so much fun and fun to watch. Crystal on Bag a Day, she's great. Her tutorials are so easy to follow and really great. Rose likes crocheting, my very first subscriber in my YouTube channel. Thank you, Rose. Rosie, I'm Rosie, she's Rose. I watch the Canadian Crocheter, of course. I watch Debbie because, again, another Canadian. And anyway, my husband, so when we moved into the condo, we only have one TV. We have one living room, dining room, everything's pretty compact. And my husband loves his sports and Seinfeld. That's the only things he watches on TV. Oh, now he watches Cheers sometimes, but yeah, we know what age group we're from, right? And I'm not a football fan. I watch hockey. I'm a very avid hockey fan, but that is going to be for my 10 non-yarny things. This is for yarny. So anyway, because he watches all his sports and whatever, we only have one TV. We had one in the bedroom. We got rid of it. I watch YouTube. Yeah. So lots of YouTube. Anyway, So the ninth Yarny thing is that I've done my own patterns. I've created a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't write them down. And so I want to now this year, one of my goals is to actually start writing down the patterns and then actually doing tutorials on them. So more than just the blog. And then number 10 Yarny things is that I am going to start doing some tutorials on how to crochet, maybe knitting, and that's going to have to wait a bit when I figure out how to edit these videos. How do I actually take good videos, edit them, put some intros, put some, I don't know, I got to figure all that out. But it takes a long time. I don't know how you guys, all that you've been online for so long, how you've figured it all out, but I have a full-time job as well. Right now I'm still on partial leave because of my hip. So this is why I started. I figured I might as well get online with what I can do and figure out the rest later. So those are the 10 Yarny things. I hope you like my shawl that I made. And I bought these buttons from, I started a show and tell box, except it's backwards. Anyway, it's a show and tell box. I bought a whole bunch of these brooches before Christmas because I gave away a lot of shawls, and so I wanted to give them these little brooches from Amazon. My show and tell box has these pom-poms. Actually, Crystal recommended, because I didn't have a pom-pom maker. Now I do, but I haven't used it yet. Buy these pom-poms on Amazon. And remember I was saying that I would start using some yarn and then I would just keep trying different patterns. Well, when I had this out, I made the infinity scarf from Mikey. So again, this yarn. I made what else do I have? Oh, just a regular scarf because I had some fabric left over and I figured see how long I can last. I made a slouchy hat. Yeah, and I think that's a Mikey pattern as well. And anyway, so I did a lot of that. Oh, I have more. Oh, that's more. I thought I had more yarn. Anyway, so that is the Yarny things about me. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. And I want to put it out there on what else do you want to hear, anything in particular that you want me to talk about. Put it down in the comments if there's something that you really liked or that you'd want to see in the future. I will probably try to upload a couple of videos a week if I can once I start working full-time again. Might not be so easy. And don't forget to subscribe and like if you like it, or dislike it if you didn't like it. Actually, constructive criticism is always good. Put what you think I should be doing better. Like one of the hard things I forget to do is I look at I'm doing this on an iPad, so I'm looking at the picture instead of looking at the camera. Anyway, that'll change when I get a really good camera. So that's it. So ciao everybody, and have a great weekend. And we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.